Hey guys, so it has been a few weeks since I made a video. Let me turn this fan off. It's been a few weeks since I made a video, and a lot has happened since I last talked to you. The last video I was telling you that I was going to Florida to visit my best friend for a few days, and did that. Been back for over a week now. But while I was gone, on that Thursday, which was the 13th, my youngest niece, who's a year old, had to have a procedure done because she had kidney reflux. And I was told this procedure was easy, no problems, like she's gonna go in and go out the next day and be fine. So I was like, okay, I don't need to be there for this, you know, it's routine, you know, just call me if something happens. Well, she had the surgery, and my family was down there. It was in Knoxville, and she went home on Friday. So my family went home Friday, and on the way home they stopped to get some food. My grandmother ended up falling in the restaurant, and the staff just ignored the fact that she fell. And yeah, they get home, which is a good like 3.5 to 4 hours away from there. They get home, and my dad finds one of his dogs sitting on the front porch. It's like, why are you sitting on the front porch? Because you should be in the house. And he gets to looking, and somebody tried to break into our house. Nothing was stolen, but my dad's 3 dogs got out. And one was on the front porch. He found one down the street, and he was terrified. He like ran from my dad as he tried to get him. And the other one is still missing, and that's been a week and a half now. We can't find him. Don't know what's happened. We've contacted everybody we can contact to help find him. Nothing. But yeah, nothing was stolen. We think the dogs really scared them off. I mean, they're little dogs. They're little Shih Tzus. I mean, it's not like a big burly dog. They're little dogs. But yeah, so that happened. And the next day, my grandmother blacked out and fell in her kitchen. But being my grandma, she refused to go to the hospital. So it was Saturday morning. I just got to Disney, and I was getting ready to go into the park, got my ticket, and I got this flood of text messages from my dad just telling me everything that happened. And I'm like, what is going on? And he just told me everything. I'm like, okay, all right, make grandma go to the hospital. She wouldn't do it, so it's like, alright, well, I'll deal with that when I get home. So I was going home on Sunday. And then I find out that my niece has been vomiting and running a fever again, and so they sent her back to the hospital. She gets there, they don't know what's wrong, and they end up thinking, okay, we're going to have to go back into surgery, find out what's going on. The anesthesiologist comes in and says, this child needs to go to the ICU right now. If I cry, just giving you a warning because it's going to happen, but they, oh my gosh, I get a call Sunday when I get home. I landed in Lexington, and I get a call from my sister, and she's telling me they're moving her to the ICU. They don't know what's wrong with her. They think she has blood poisoning. They have no idea what's going on. So, I mean, she's a tiny, tiny little girl, and it was just like heartbreaking. So, like, I can't be there, you know, and I don't know what to do in this situation other than just pray for her. And my sister's just like sobbing on the phone, and I'm like trying to hold it together as best I could without losing it myself. And my mom was driving, and I'm like, I can't tell her because she's gonna lose it. And so I'm like, okay, well, call us when you know something, you know, just let us know. And they get her into the ICU. I get home, I go see my grandma, and I try to help her sit up in bed, and she screams in pain. I'm like, you need to go to the hospital right now. So she goes, find out she broke one of her vertebrae. And so it's like, oh my god, really? So they send her home, and they set her up with specialists, and she went later in the week. But back to Becca, they couldn't find out what was wrong with her. They're like, maybe it's blood poisoning, maybe her ureters are swollen, something's wrong. that her kidneys were getting so full and her bladder was getting so full and she couldn't urinate. So they went in and did another procedure, put some stents into her ureters, and you know, it worked for a while, and she would like make progress, and you're like, she's getting better, and then they would take the catheter out and it'd be like 10 steps backwards. And it just got worse and worse, and I was just like dying here. Like, I sat back here at work so many times and just cried because I couldn't do anything to help her. And finally they were like, when they said there was possible kidney damage because of all the urine that kept getting pushed into her kidneys. And I mean, she was so swollen, like she was huge from just all the water retention from the IV fluid they were giving her. And then they were like, she's gonna need a blood transfusion. Oh, and her heart rate was 228 at the highest. I mean, that's insane for such a tiny baby who's just laying there, you know. Her resting heart rate was 228. And I'm like, it's gonna damage her heart, you know, all this fluid on her plus her heart rate, like this is gonna damage her heart. She's gonna have heart problems for the rest of her life. I'm like, for all the things going through your head, you know. Me and my sister told me, and I was like, you know, thinking the same thing. I'm like, we could lose this baby. Like, oh my God, it's heartbreaking to think of losing her because she is the sweetest child I've ever met, you know. And my other niece is sweet too, but this one, she catches you off guard. And so they had to do a blood transfusion on her, and then her going back into surgery, because they finally figured out what happened. On the Sunday when she went back to the hospital, went into ICU, she was having bladder spasms so bad that it ripped holes in her bladder. So the urine was leaking into her body, and like, I don't even know, it was leaking into her body, and so they had to go in and fix it, and it was just craziness. And I'm like, you know, sitting here praying so hard that she'll be okay, because I can't lose my baby. I can't lose my little girl, you know, my baby that I've fallen so hard in love with, you know. I can't. And yeah, so she went into surgery, and I was just like on pins and needles. I haven't settled in this whole situation from the start. I've been just constant, like, on edge and trying to hold it together for so long because I knew if I broke down I wouldn't stop. And she went through the surgery and she came out, and she's made such improvements that they told her she could go home today, Sunday, whenever she went home, but she'd have to keep a catheter in for a week. And she went home today with no catheter, so that's the best news. And then my grandma, she went to her appointment Friday with a specialist here in Lexington and found out that she didn't just break one bone in her back, she broke 3 bones in her back. And I'm like, when it rains, it pours. Like, it really does. When it rains, it pours. And so it's just been crazy hectic at my house. I mean, tomorrow she has another appointment to get an MRI done on her back. And then I think Wednesday they're going to do some kind of procedure on her. I don't know, but it's been crazy, and I'm just hoping that things start moving in the better direction now. Like my niece, my little one, Rebecca, called me tonight and was just like cooing and saying my name, which melts my heart every time she says my name, and giving me kisses. And so she's on the way to recovery, which is fantastic. And it's like, I can breathe now. But it's just been a crazy hectic, week and a half, 2 weeks now with my family. It's like one thing after another, just constant. But yeah, so hopefully things will be getting back to normal, and I can get back to doing things normally again. But yeah, I just want to let you guys know all the hecticness that was happening in my house, my family. And I've got my 3-year-old niece, almost 4-year-old niece at my house since then, and it's been crazy with her too, because she's just a typical 3-year-old and into everything and all over the place. But yeah, so I hope you guys are doing well, and I hope you're having a much better time than we've been having. And I will see you guys soon. Bye.